Hey everybody, we're going to continue from Jamaica with a couple videos that you'll be able to watch while I'm out at on senior trip. So we're going to continue with somatoform disorders. The first one we're going to talk about, well, somatoform disorders in general. Let me blow this up, sorry. Make it easier to see and take notes and all that stuff because I know you're taking notes, right? Alright, anyway, so somatoform disorders occur when a person manifests a psychological problem through a physiological symptom. Now, physiology deals with the body. So, whenever a psychological problem manifests itself through the body, that's called a somatoform disorder. Yes, there you go. Two different types. The first kind is hypochondriasis, or people you may refer to them as hypochondriacs, people who are just sick or believe they're sick because they just do. They will get fevers, maybe, or chills, or shake. I've even heard of people having false pregnancies, believing they were pregnant. They just believed so much that they were pregnant, their body was tricked into thinking it was pregnant, and it wasn't until later they found out they were not. These people will have frequent physical complaints where medical doctors are not really able to locate the cause. Headaches, belly aches, things like that. Usually it's an upset stomach, headaches. People with this fear that this is a symptom of something much, much bigger. I have a headache, oh my gosh, it's a brain tumor. Or my stomach hurts, maybe I've got stomach cancer. Maybe I've got food poisoning. Right? These are hypochondriacs. The second one is conversion disorder. This is where people will report the existence of physical problems without a biological reason. I can't move my arm. Well, why? I don't know. I just can't move it. Well, there's no blockers. You don't have any injuries. Why can't you move your arm? I don't know. I just can't move my arm. Blindness is another one. You see blindness sometimes with PTSD. A lot of soldiers would report being blind after going through a firefight, and then after a few days, all of a sudden their sight comes back. But that is a conversion disorder. There's no real reason for the physical problems. They're just there. They're just there. All right, next type of disorders are dissociative. These disorders, we're going to spend some time on this, involve a disruption of the conscious process. Remember, we talked about consciousness being how aware we are of the world. Right now, I'm aware. I'm in Jamaica. It's a halfway sunny, overcast sky. I'm sitting out up on the hill above Montego Bay. I'm only slightly rubbing it in. I'm also aware that there is traffic probably 50 feet below me, way on down there, up on top of a kind of a platform or something like that. Just enjoying the teams are out at the beach, and I'm enjoying this weather, making videos for you all. But I'm aware of that. And so I know I'm conscious. Well, with dissociative disorders, those are disrupted. And there are three major types. The first type is psychogenic amnesia. Of course, amnesia means you can't remember things. So people with psychogenic amnesia, a person cannot remember things, but they don't really have a physiological basis for the disruption in memory. They haven't had a jar to the head, they've not fallen, for whatever reason, they just cannot remember things. Retrograde amnesia is another example of that. This is not organic amnesia. Remember, organic, there's an actual something wrong with the neurons and with the connections. But with psychogenic amnesia, there's no reason that we can find for the disruption of the memories. And organic amnesia can be retrograde or antrograde, before or after. First dates. Next one is dissociative fugue. This is where people with psychogenic amnesia find themselves in an unfamiliar environment. How did I get here? Whether it's from the amnesia themselves, and then all of a sudden they realize they don't know where they are, what's going on. It's dissociative fugue. They've dissociated for an amount of time from reality, and then all of a sudden they don't have a clue what's going on or where they are or anything like that. And then we have dissociative identity disorder. This used to be known as multiple personality disorders. The movie Split is an extreme case. Most people won't be that. Actually, I don't know anybody who's that big. But when you're talking about dissociative identity disorder, most of us probably know it as multiple personality disorder. What they've found, really, what they've decided is that there's not really multiple personalities as much as it is multiple identities, or a disassociation from your actual identity. Here comes another plane coming in. In this, a person has several rather than one integrated personality. People with dissociative identity disorder commonly have a history of childhood abuse or trauma. The psychoanalytic psychologists suggest that this is a defense mechanism to deal with the stress of being in an abusive or a traumatic relationship when they're young. Again, I hope you can hear me. The trucks down here are really loud. Next, we're going to come to mood disorders. These disorders experience people will experience extreme or inappropriate emotion. You know, laughing at funerals, crying at parties. They don't match the scenario. They don't match the situation. Or they can be huge. You know, what gets a little bit of a chuckle, a small joke, somebody rips out with this gut-busting laughter. Or, you know, maybe what's meant to be a sad scene in a movie, and all of a sudden somebody is just bawling uncontrollably in a movie theater. Right? Those are some examples of how that can be manifest. One of the big ones, of course, is major depression, also known as unipolar depression. By definition, you have to have felt this way for at least 2 weeks with no apparent cause. You know, if you have a loved one pass away, if you lose a job, break up with your significant other, that's just naturally that's going to make you upset. That doesn't fall into major depression. What the definition of major depression is that it's got to be at least 2 weeks, and it has to be with no apparent cause. So you just wake up and you just are sad and you stay that way for a long period of time. Depression is the common cold of psychological disorders. Everybody will get it at some point in their life. It's I don't want to say it's 100%, but most, if not all, people will become depressed at least one point in their life, be unhappy for at least 2 weeks for no real reason reason, no apparent cause. It just happens. A bunch of planes coming in all at once. My wife suffers from this seasonal affective disorder, where essentially you experience depression during the winter months. Psychologists believe it's from the lack of sunlight during the winter months. Whether it's a lack of vitamin D or what, but and that's why I suggest going places where it's nice and warm, maybe in around Christmas time or spring break, fall break, something like that, because it can do some good stuff for your attitude. But seasonal affective disorder, sad in the winter months, based on not on temperature but on the amount of sunlight. And treatments with this, a lot of times you can just treat with light therapy. There are, I don't know what they're called, contraptions that create light that during the winter months people will sit next to and have the light sort of shine on them as they sit and read or whatever. But that is a pretty effective treatment, I believe, for seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. Bipolar disorder. This used to be known as manic depression. This involves periods of depression at the low end and manic or mania at the high end. So manic episodes involve feelings of high energy, but that can be different. People could be confident, people could be irritable, but they're just really manic. And of course, manic comes from the word mania. Of course, depression is the opposite of that. It's low. People in manic episodes tend to engage in risky behavior more often. Some personality disorders. In order to be a personality disorder, it needs to be a maladaptive way of behaving that negatively affects people's ability to function. So, big point here is maladaptive that has a negative effect. There could be maladaptive behaviors but may not have a negative effect, or vice versa. There could be behaviors that are not maladaptive, but do have a negative effect. There's another plane rolling in here. Well, today is Friday. These tend to dominate their personality. Antisocial personality disorder. With these, you get a lack of empathy. You don't care about other people. Little regards for other people's feelings. People will view the world as hostile and only look out for themselves. So that is, antisocial is not, or having antisocial personality disorder does not mean you like being by yourself. Or being by yourself does not necessarily mean you have antisocial personality disorder. Dependent personality disorder. These people rely too much on the attention and the help of others. You remember the movie, what was that, Mean Girls? Go ahead. Histrionic personality disorder. And this one's a little odd. These people tend to want to be the center of attention. A lot of times they're acting silly or dressed provocatively. Remember the beginning of the year when we did the celebrity behavior activity, where you all picked an outrageous celebrity and had to talk about why they did the things they do based on some of the different perspectives. A lot of those people might probably have this histrionic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder. These people are having an unwarranted sense of self-importance. You all probably know a few people like that. Not me. A lot of times they have pictures of themselves all over the place. Hey, everybody, look at me. These people think that they are the center of the universe. I don't know what show that. Oh, 90210. Golly, that's an old picture. We'll get into a lot of these a little later. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Again, overly concerned with certain thoughts and performing certain behaviors. Not as extreme as OCD anxiety. I want to make sure that we're clear that there is a difference between obsessive compulsive anxiety disorder and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. This one is not nearly as extreme. These people kind of, you should say they function a little easier, a little better. Now we get into the schizophrenic disorders. And I think I've told you, my brother suffers from schizophrenia. About 1 in 100 people are diagnosed with schizophrenia. To me, that's a lot. Another plane. If you think about our school, 7 people within our school, 7.5, will be diagnosed with schizophrenia at some point in their life. So there's a lot of different symptoms. We're going to go over a few of them. And this will probably be the last video we do, or the last one we go over in this section. Let me double check, see how many's. Yeah, we'll do. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to go ahead and stop. I'll do another video specifically on schizophrenia. So, anyways, hope you all are having a good day. And we'll see you next time, again, from Jamaica. Peace out.